It was pretty much 10 years of just constant depression, and everything was always my fault. That just breaks your heart when you're a child because you just feel so powerless, you can't do anything to stop it. I think my earliest memories are just playing on the beach in this little town called Sawtell with my mum. We just had a really close relationship growing up and we just did everything together, and then my dad sort of came back into the picture when I was probably about 5. He was a good dad when I was young. He was, very loving and caring, and I remember him standing up for me, and then things changed, when my brother came along. I don't know whether his mental health issues got worse around that time or what happened, but that was sort of when our relationship started to decline, I guess. I remember there was one time my dad was in a really bad mood. When he got home, he just exploded, and my mum and my brother and I actually had to run across the paddocks to our neighbour's house.
Some days you'd be there and it'd be all light and fluffy and happy, and then expect that the next day and it's not.
Yeah. I did have to see a psychologist or a counsellor at one point because I was feeling suicidal. We had some family sessions, and I remember that the counsellor asked my dad, "How does it make you feel that your daughter is feeling suicidal?" And he was just like, "Oh, well, I've felt that way before. We all get down," or something like that, or, she's not the only one who has problems, and just turned it around. It's like not a big deal. I felt like I was going to be dealing with my dad's abuse forever. I just thought that I was worthless because I didn't have any self-esteem. So I hated my body, I hated everything about myself. Yeah, I just wanted to disappear. Like, I just didn't want to be here anymore. There was a place that he'd worked for a long time, might have been 5 to 10 years, and they gave the job to a woman who didn't have any experience, and I think that was the final straw for Dad. Somewhere in his mind he understood that he didn't have control over the thoughts in his head anymore. So he thought that if he killed himself, that would be the only way that he could free us, really. I think I was really angry, but I just pushed it down. So when people asked, I was like, "Oh, he's not around. He passed away. It is what it is." Suicide is such a awful and tragic thing, but when you've been living in a situation for so long where you feel unsafe every day and you're being emotionally and mentally abused every day, him being gone was a relief in the sense that I finally felt like I was free. There was a guy who I had sort of dated a few times. We were pretty good friends, and then he ended up assaulting me. That was kind of the turning point for me because I felt like I couldn't get any lower. After going through everything I'd been through as a teenager and then being assaulted was just too much. I just tried to make a conscious decision that I was going to make better choices for myself.
It wasn't easy to get through that time. You had your 2 years off after Dad died. And here you are, a writer.
I just recently opened a domestic violence memorial here in Brisbane. Suicide was this growing epidemic in Australia, and the issue was just continuing to skyrocket. I'm really passionate about trying to help other people to overcome their tough times and, share their stories, because it can be very difficult to know how to share your story as well. I can't believe we both turned up in pretty much the same dress that day.
Yeah, we didn't plan for it, did we?
No, it was so good.
How white my legs are.
They were my favourites. And then I found this one, which is like super old.
Oh.
Remember this one?
Oh my gosh, don't look.
Love the glasses.
Oh my gosh.
I found 9 other people to add to the book along with myself, and I interviewed them and to share what some of their toughest times were in life and how they got through that. I wrote those up and put them into a book, which I called Reasons to Live One More Day Every Day. The message that I want to push to other people is that no matter how dark life gets, we just have to find a reason to keep living, and we have to try to remove, the stigma around speaking out so that people don't think that suicide is their only option. Really, when the book came out, Like that's when
Yeah.
I started to talk about it. I think before then I just wasn't ready. Like there was just too much anger and too many bad memories and stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to deal with those emotions, like probably at that time of the event. It takes, I've heard like it takes years for people to deal with that.
Yeah, I think
You've
so.
done really well
Oh,
for your
thanks.
life, yeah.
Thank you.
Really, really well. You're such a strong, amazing woman, really.
Stop it. Cry. So since releasing the book, I've had heaps of people ask me, are you going to write another one? Or I wish I could share my story, or I know someone who would love to share their story. I had a lot of men coming up to me actually, sharing how thankful they were that I was speaking out about things like domestic violence and child abuse, because this is so widespread. Like it's awful. Like you can barely speak to anyone these days who hasn't either gone through something themselves or knows someone who has. So I just realised yesterday that it's been a year since my book came out, which is pretty amazing. So
It doesn't feel like 12 months.
no. I actually dedicated my book to my son because I want him to know that if he goes through those tough things that I went through, if he's going through bullying or tough things in life, I want him to know it's okay to reach out for help. You can make it through those tough times, and you're going to go on to discover who you are, and it takes time. Choo-choo, choo-choo. For me, it took a long time to become comfortable in my own skin. When you find what you're passionate about, then you start to unlock more and more things about yourself, and you become more comfortable with who you are, and life sort of just builds you instead of you trying to go out and make life happen. I discovered who I was by discovering the things that I was passionate about, and there was a lot of struggle in that and a lot of hard times, but there's always hope through those tough times, and that's the number one message that I want to share. So.